Oh, I think I might have something.
Good everyone, Joe here, up in Auckland at the moment. Come up from Dunedin, just at Mission Bay, looking straight out at Rangitoto. Can't really face the camera the other way because of the sun, but yeah, it's a beautiful day up here. A little bit windy, but yeah, lovely here. But you know, it's a big change coming up from Dunedin up to Auckland to have a look around. You know, there's lots of commercial buildings going up for consumerism all over the place. Like the malls are just getting bigger and bigger, which is just leading to more and more consumerism. There's big social housing blocks going up all over the place that are, you know, they don't require to have any garages, so a lot of people are going to be parking on the streets. And there's already an increasing crime rate up here. I've got a couple of young people up here that have moved up from down in Dunedin. Within the first couple of weeks, you know, a car was broken into and stolen. So when they build these new subdivisions for low decile, it's going to increase the crime rate even more, which is just going to demand more police that come out onto the police force instead of minimising the impact on our environment and, you know, minimising the effects of what's happening at the moment, which is poverty. We're all struggling at the moment, from our primary industry right through to our consumer industry. Our agricultural industry is suffering major. You know, it's going to come to the point, the way it's going, that, you know, farmers are going to be able to produce the produce at a price that we can afford to buy it. So, you know, how are they going to survive? But, you know, I'm sure there'll be someone like Monsanto will come in with a cheap alternative to decent food at a cheap price, while all our farmers go broke. We've got the Three Waters megacorps, which has got nothing to do with you know, cleaning up the pipes and all that jazz. You know, over in England they've got pipes over there that have been in the ground for 200 years and they're fine. Down in Dunedin, the mayor down there is cleaning up he's digging up the main streets and putting in new pipes, and there's nothing wrong with them. It's all just to make people think that there's a big problem and it needs to be fixed. When in fact, what the real truth of it is that they want to put our Three Waters into 4 megacorps, and these 4 megacorps are going. They've got 2 reasons. One reason is to create segregation again between Māori and the rest of the nation. Iwi were infiltrated by the elite. Back in the day, quite a while ago, you know, got money handed out, you know, and were advised to go into certain industries, tourism, such and such, and a lot of iwis are hemorrhaging cash, so, you know, there's not really much interest in them to be owning the Three Waters when it's going to cost them $185 billion to fix all the problems with it. So the best thing for the iwis to be doing, as far as their current situation, which is needing a cash injection, is to sell those 4 megacorps, and the intention will be to sell those 4 megacorps to overseas, you know, to multinational corporations. And the reason for that is that we're coming into a new age, and that age is called Aquarius. And with that age, when we get there, when we deserve to get there, we'll get there. With the age of Aquarius comes, you know, the power of water. The water has got the potential to be, it's like, if you look at nuclear power, well, it will just make that obsolete. Water's got the power we can make hydrogen out of water. You know, they're already talking about, you know, they're going to create hydrogen plants so that we can get hydrogen fuel cells, put them in our car, and you know, drive our car around. So they still hold on to the fuel market, energy market. But in truth, all we need to do really is to be where our fuel tank is in our car. We can turn that into a hydrogen fuel cell, pour water in there, and that will create the hydrogen gas, and that will run through a combustion engine, and that will run our vehicle. Now they know this, they just don't want us to have the ability to have it. So water's going to be a high commodity, and under those circumstances should water be a commodity such as that. Water is the gift of life. and we need to protect it at all costs. And the way we're going, the system that we are controlled by, which is the Western Judaist system, that wants us to be segregated, the people segregated. So at the moment it's, I know I've spoken to someone who works with someone of a different culture, and they don't like the Māori because the Māori want the water. So the Māori don't want the water, but the Māori are, some iwis are in trouble financially. But that was always the plan, to have them in trouble. So when it came to this point, that they would accept this deal to take the water, free waters. But there's another way out, is that the people of New Zealand unite. We stand together, and it has to be a nationwide union. And regardless of what culture, all our differences in the past, we've got to learn to forgive, forget all that. We've got to learn to forgive and love each other, and respect each other for our differences, and move forward, united against the system, because the system has got no interest in us. This is New Zealand, and they want this for the new land of the elite all across the world. They only need so many servants, and a lot of us are not necessary. We can go into things like the vaccine and 5G, frequencies, everything. Here is my Technicolor Dreamcoat. It may look black, but it's got every colour in it. I wear that, and it's really good, and I put Sapphaggio tones through that. However, with 5G, it can put different frequencies through into the atmosphere, and it can make us very sick. And it has done it before. We were down in Camp Freedom, and a lot of people think this is just a joke, but my family and I, we got sick. We got very sick, and a lot of people were in tinfoil hats. We weren't, but a lot of people were, and it actually did help. People were feeling like they were getting needles stabbed into their heads. That's what it felt like, and that's the power of 5G. But there's another side of 5G. Whoever's in control of 5G has the power to change the frequency of it. Now the system as it is it wants domination power over all the people, and we need to have control of these things, or to at least we need to have control, or at least a system that is putting positive frequencies out there, that is healing people rather than making them sick. As far as politics, we've got party politics in New Zealand. One thing that it does is, one thing that it's always done, and a lot of us aren't aware of this, and some of us are, is that party politics is always, once every 3 years, we get to vote whatever that we're told that someone's going to do, or some party's going to do, and then lo and behold, it never happens. Just look what's happening right now. We do need politicians, because we need people that are educated to be able to structure up proposals of what we need for the future, or ideas of what we think we need for the future. But the issue we have is that the people that structure these proposals are also the ones that vote on whether they go through or not. So we need to unite together to stop this, and we need to unite. So we still need politicians. But what we need them for is to write up these proposals and stuff, and put it on an online portal through blockchain, and then we, instead of the caucus of 120 people or whatever, and this goes for the local council as well, instead of them coming up with the ideas and then deciding on whether they go through or not, they come up with the ideas, it goes onto an online portal, and the people get to vote. We all get to vote. Now for me, I'm not going to vote on certain things that have got no interest in me. I'm not going to vote on funding for triathlete funding, which I'm just sitting here in Rangitoto, they do triathlons here. I'm not going to vote on that kind of stuff, because it doesn't really concern me. But I would definitely be voting on whether we turn our three waters into a megacorp. I would be voting on whether it stays with, on whether we want to stay under the Crown, British Crown rule. I believe it's time for us to become an independent nation, and I believe it's time for us to be putting the past in the past. The Treaty of Waitangi was designed for one reason. It wasn't designed as an agreement between Māori and between Māori and the Crown. It was designed to segregate the people, and it's done an excellent job out there. There's a lot of Māori out there that are very angry, and even though they're the minority, I'm Māori, and even though it might be the minority, there's a lot of warriors out there in the Māori, but even though the majority of people, that aren't Māori and feel maybe threatened by Māori, we need to put all that in the past and just move on and be united, because our true enemy is the Crown. And our true enemy is the system, this Western Judean system that has just been controlling us for so long and manipulating us with their mainstream media, which is just an absolute sin against man and humanity. There's just so much disgusting stuff that's happened for profit instead of benefiting the people. There's very little that happens to benefit the people. This guy, the one who put in this carbon tax, was putting in this carbon tax for farmers. Well, it's supposed to be a good thing, according to the Prime Minister. Our farmers can barely afford to keep their heads above water, and they keep getting more legislation put on them. I know a farmer down in Dunedin. He does eggs and pigs, and he had an audit for his eggs, for the eggs he does, and it used to cost him $700. Now it costs them. He got one done not long ago, and it cost them. It cost them $2,000. So the price increased pretty much by 300% for him just to get his audit done. WorkSafe is just absolute crime. There's a lot of justification needs to be answered for here. Now, I'm not saying that all politicians are bad, but I do say that all of the politicians know what's going on inside the caucus, and they do know that it's not for the people, and it's for the people that it's designed for those in power all around the world for their own interest and not ours. And we need to kind of stand up against that, and we need to give politicians the opportunity to come out and tell the truth about what's really going on, and we need to be there to protect them as well. And if they don't want to come out and say the truth, tell us the truth of what's going on, well, let them go down with their own ship. There's an opportunity, there's salvation available for everyone. It's like Bob Marley said, is there a place for these hopeless sinners? Well, yes, there is. But if they don't repent, and they don't want to tell us the truth, and it's hard to repent. But if they don't want to do that, well, that's on them. But at the end of the day, we need power to the people. And as far as oil, the fuel price is concerned, at the moment they've dropped the oil price down. They've taken the taxes off. But we're all looking around, and there's photos on Facebook of potholes here and potholes here. So that's got to be paid somehow. So they're going to, when everything's calmed down, they're going to put those taxes back up, and we're going to be the ones that pay for it. Fuel will go back up in price, and we'll be back in the same situation, but a lot worse. This is a game of chess, and there's not many pieces left on the board. So we've got two choices. We can moan about it, and we can do nothing about it, or we can unite as a nation and come together and get this done properly for the sake of the people, for all of us. And this is humanity. We might look at down south. It's easy for us to say, that's what's happened up in Auckland. It doesn't matter, it bothers us. And up here in Auckland, we might say, over and halfway around the world, they've just got their plastic bottles polluting all the harbours. It's so deep in plastic bottles. But the thing is we've got to all work together, and we drink we drink out of these plastic bottles. What's in the supermarkets? When you go into a dairy and see how many plastic bottles are in the fridges, for one thing, we should be, but people shouldn't. Businesses should not be allowed to sell drinks in plastic bottles. It's just disgusting how many plastic bottles are in supermarkets. I try to buy mine out of aluminium cans. I don't even know if that's the best option, but I'll tell you this: lithium-ion, EV vehicles based on lithium-ion, is disgusting. It takes 1.5 million litres of fresh water to extract 1 tonne of lithium. So that's and where those areas where they get the lithium from, that water is that's taken away from the farmers. So the farmers lose that water, so they can't farm. They're stopped. So we need R&D into our farming industry. We use so much man-made fertilizers, and farmers have to keep up with the market and produce as much as they can, as cheaply as they can. And the way we're doing it now is we're using all sorts of man-made fertilizers and whatever to increase their production rate, so they can keep their heads above water as well. And that's just part of it. But there's simple ways. With a bit of R&D, we can be running our cars on water and having our farmers producing more fodder for their animals, organic, on less than 1% of the water than what we're using at the moment, just with some R&D. But the only way that's going to happen is if we pull the system down. And for that to happen, we all need to unite. And one industry that really is should be backing this is the transport industry, because they're the ones who are getting hammered at the moment. They are getting hammered with increasing fuel costs, that they've got to send our stock all over the country. They can sustain so much of our they can cover so much of the increase in fuel costs, but not all of it. And at the moment, hey, we've got a discount in fuel, but it's still up there. And it will increase again, and we don't know. The more we're in this fossil fuel industry, the more at risk we are of whatever prices they want to offer us. That's what we have to deal with. So until we get out of this and get into a hydrogen age, the age of Aquarius, which is based on water, and water's got so much power that people don't understand. The age of nuclear is you'll be amazed at how much energy we can produce to power our houses and all of that without fossil fuels, not even hydro dams. We can produce so much energy with water and basic hydrolysis. Okay, people, ka kite, and God bless to everyone. I'm just going to say a little prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil, for the power and glory of God, forever and ever. Amen. Ka kite all, love you all, even the ones I don't really like. I love you. Okay, ka kite, aroha nui, love you all.